A very confusing game. Orlando Pirates against Selhukhune, their second game between the two teams and their first game of the league. Orlando Pirates were victors, 2-0 win against Selhukhune. And I said a game that was a bit confusing because you would have seen the first half. Orlando Pirates was disorientated. I think we couldn't gel together. We couldn't connect 3-4 passes consistently. As Selhukhune were dominant in all the departments. They got into the final third areas a couple of times. They got shots at goal, couple of shots on target. I think they were on top of us. If Selhukhune had converted chances in the first half, then it would have turned out to be the worst game for us. That's why I'm saying it's confusing, because it's difficult to say whether it was beautiful or good. But I think there are positive to take from that game, that even when Orlando Pirates in the first half, they were nowhere to be found. Selhukhune were all over of us. We were disorganized. We were disorientated. We still managed to find a goal. A beautiful goal by Boitumelo Radiopane. A tight spot, finding a tight corner in between the goalkeeper and the last defender. That was a very beautiful technique, and it shows the quality that Boitumelo Radiopane is. This is the Boitumelo Radiopane who was the leading goal scorer in the DTC. This is the Boitumelo Radiopane that got all Orlando Pirates fans excited when he was promoted. Unfortunately, for a couple of years, things didn't go well for him. It's really interesting and convincing and encouraging that Orlando Pirates kept on retaining the boy until the boy found his mojo. I mean, Pirates winning 2 goals. He's getting involved in both goals as a striker, scoring one and then creating one. I think if Mutiani had not given that outstanding performance, Boitumelo could have easily been the man of the match. But I think that is one of the positives that you can take from that game. The second one will be that Orlando Pirates played that game inside the field, except the goalkeeper. They played with only 4 regular players, 6 new players in the starting lineup. The only 4 players that were regular, it was Siema, it was Dion Hoto, it was Kamoelo Sebelebele and Oswina Police. All the 6 players, they were new players. From Mukobodi, Mutiani, Masilela, Msendane, Zulu at the back, and Radiopane at the front. So it's very, very, very interesting and encouraging that Orlando Pirates, with all that mixed masala, all that group of young players, Orlando Pirates still managed to get a 2-0 victory over Selhukhune. That is not just a small team. Selhukhune is a very big team, very tactical, it's very dangerous. So it's really encouraging. That is one of the positive to take. I mean, it was so interesting that you're watching the game and you only wait for the commentator. You'll have to wait for Baba Mthethwa. For some of us who listen to the Sesotho channel, you'll have to wait for Baba Mthethwa to come and tell you which player is there, because even the numbers are confusing you. You are seeing number 47, number 49, you are seeing number 29, you don't know who's that. You are seeing so multiple numbers that are just confusing. But still, you are able to get results. I think kudos to Coach Wadu. As much as we are always critical of Coach Wadu, where credit is due, it must be given. Coach Wadu, I think he did with that particular squad. He managed to get a win with that particular squad. I think Coach Wadu did very well, and let's give it to him. He did very well. I've already mentioned that I was impressed by one of the players. It's Boitumelo Radiopane, Msendane as well. We've seen on the Orlando Pirates camp that when he came last year, he had personal issues that actually might have weighed down on him. But this year, Msendane, it looks like he just came to the party. He had some couple of shots on target. He had some couple of successful dribbles. He had some couple of final penetrative passes in the final third area. He did very well. He was one of the he gave us a fair performance on the day. Also, one of the interesting part is the battle is the competition in the center of the park, where you see Mukobodi. The competition between Mukobodi as a defensive midfielder, Mukobodi, Dansim, and and Maketleni Makaula, the legend. It's very interesting. Even when you go to the middle of the park, no. In the defensive midfielder, Mukobodi and Selepe. Mukobodi, Selepe, and Maketleni Makaula. When you go to the holding midfield position, you've got Danzim, who was out, and you've got Mbata, who's currently injured. But you've got this boy who got the man of the match, who did extremely very well. I'll just remember his name. Who did extremely very well at the center of the park. I think that Orlando Pirates finally got a squad. And then when you go to attacking midfielder, you've got Masilela, who looks like is the only one with no competition. But there are players. I think I still believe that Apolis should be converted into a number 10 area and try to see if the combination can work with Apolis at the center. And then you've got Tsoni, Karakara on the wing, and Lungu. You also have Msandani, who's going to give them competition, and Muremi, who's currently injured as well when he come back to the injury. So you already have enough powerhouse or firepower out in the wing. Probably you might need to bring Police in. His experience, his World Cup experience, his AFCON experience, his creativity, I think he might fit very well at the central defensive position, so that at least he give Masilela a bit of competition there. But I've also seen some interesting subs that have been made. One of the interesting sub that has been made, Butlalongwatu, Matome Molai. Those players have done outstandingly very well. Have done extremely very well. I think we've got a team there in those players. Coach Wadu, if he can be able to manage the squad properly, I think we'll be able to get results. I understand that he brought in a couple of new players. The same thing that he attempted last year, it didn't work. This season, first game, it worked. It might not work in each and every game. I still believe that players need to gradually introduced into the first 11. Throwing them all in at the same time, it can be disastrous in some of the games. We might have celebrated the win yesterday because we're happy we won, but I think that what he did might, in some of the games, it might be dangerous. I believe that going into the second league of MTN8, I don't know. Does the coach change that team? That is the winning team. Does the coach change that team and revert back to at least his mid-regular team that he always used? Does he take off Radiopani and bring in Butuma? I'm not sure about that. I mean, the reality is that we reward the good performance. I think Radiopani need to be rewarded in the second game, in the second league, need to be rewarded for the good performance that he gave. And Butuma should start on the bench or even on the stand, because I think that you need to give Peterson as well an opportunity. Butuma has been given an opportunity to prove himself. I think we need to give Peterson constant opportunities to prove himself. He will get in, he will gel in, he will reconnect with the other players and do very well. In the center of the park, do you bring back Danzim? I don't know. As I said, I think why am I forgetting this player, man? The one who got the man of the match, the central holding midfield. I think he did very well. He also got the man of the match. Do you still reward him and bring him back, and then you also start Silep on the bench again in the second leg, and then start Mukobodi has been doing very well, exceptionally well as a defensive midfielder. I think that's an obvious option. Apolis, do you start him out in the wing? I've got this strong feeling that if Apolis can be brought into the inside to play that number 10, Apolis can do very well. Maybe, start the game with Apolis at the center. I'm not taking anything away from Masilela, but I think that we need not to overload him with responsibilities at this early stage of the competition, because Masilela, remember, is just a new signee. Sometimes we need to rest him, bring him in the second half, because if you're going to give him too much responsibilities as a new signee, it as I said, it might be disastrous to bring all these new players at the same time, to throw them in. Maybe bring in Apolis inside and then play. You've got an option of playing Tsoni in the wing and start with Lungu. Msandani did well, but maybe coming from the bench might just be well for him. Matome Molai did well, also coming from the bench again might also be well. I think we need to balance it like that. Otherwise, we might end up, it might be disastrous. You know, second leagues, beating Sekhukhune twice makes them extremely dangerous. And I think if you have been watching the Sekhukhune games, especially the first league that they played in the competition against Pirates and the second one where they lost 2-0, the numbers are not a true reflection of the game, because the second game that we played with Sekhukhune, where we defeated them 2-0, they were actually much better than, or even looked more dangerous than they were the first leg of the MTN8. So I think we need not to relax. Beating the team twice, going to play with them in the third time, there's possibilities that players might relax and take it for granted and think that it's just one in the bag, and then we can be surprised. We can get the shock of our life, and Sekhukhune can shock us. I think we need to have the proper and thorough preparation. As I said, I believe that the coach need to bring more experienced players, not taking away from the players that played and won 2-0, but going to the final or second leg of the MTN8. I really advocate for the coach to bring in experienced players. Maybe one of the player who did very well that can remain, it's Radio Pani and our holding midfielder who got the man of the match. As I said, guys, we struggle with these names. These are new players. Literally, we are struggling with their names. Yeah, but I think Radio Pani can be maintained, and that holding midfielder. Zulu did well. When, for as long as he's got Hoto, he's got Siema, and he's got Sibilibili, I think Zulu can also be brought back again. Mokobodi can remain. The midfield can retain the defensive and the holding midfield. Just bring in Apolis. I want to see Apolis as a number 10. Maybe just bring in Apolis inside and have Lungu and Tsoni outside. Have Buitumelo Radiopane as a center forward. I think we can be extremely dangerous, and I believe that it should be the approach going into the second league. CAF Champions League is coming. Does the coach have enough squad for CAF Champions League? Yes. Does the coach have enough quality for CAF Champions League? Yes. Does the coach have already built enough the rhythm or a squad for CAF Champions League? No. The coach is still searching. You can see the players that is rotating on a week-in, week basis. He's still searching for the team. You remember what happened to Orlando Pirates when we went to CAF Champions League while we were still trying to find a team? We were embarrassed. It's a competition. It's not the league. We were embarrassed. So I believe that the coach needs to try all these formations now, so that by the time we start competing in the CAF Champions League in the near future, very near future, then we already have a team that we know we can rely on for CAF Champions League. But otherwise, a team that is going to win cups, you see it by not having so good performance but still getting results. I think that is one important thing that we need to give Coach Wadu credit for, and the players as well. So of the pitch issues that we've seen, let's not discuss them now. We will discuss them. We'll discuss them on TikTok. But maybe just to touch on it, there was an incident where I've seen that the Sekhukhune goalkeeper they were trying to prepare and warm up, but I don't know what was happening. I don't want to speculate, but it looks like part of our technical team, they were disturbing or not. I don't know what was happening. Maybe they were warming up in the wrong post, or what was a goal post, or I don't know what was the reason for that. But I hope we can get much clarity, so that we do not go with the social media atmosphere that suggests that they were refused an opportunity to warm up. We wouldn't want to see an institution as big as Orlando Pirates doing that. We know how difficult it was for us when we were playing in Africa. We know the conditions that we were subjected to. That is disgusting. That is unsportsman behavior. I just hope Orlando Pirates does not fall to that. I hope that Orlando Pirates can address that issue internally, and maybe, if possible, also just give the supporters some statement about what actually occurred in that situation. And And kudos to Orlando Pirates supporters throughout the country, man. Whether it's in Orlando, whether it's in Polokwane, whether it's in KZN, Orlando Pirates supporters have came in numbers. Whether it is in Cape Town, Orlando Pirates supporters, whether it is in Free State, Orlando Pirates supporters, we are the only supporters that are filling stadiums week in, week out. Like we're filling stadiums for a living. Or it becomes a norm that we fill in stadiums. I think it's very important. The ticket have went up. Yes, we've complained about the ticket prices being high, but we still go to the stadium and fill up the stadium. And kudos to the Buccaneers. Let's keep it up. Let's keep on supporting the team. Let's keep on supporting the boys. They are doing very well. Honestly, they need and they deserve our support. Halala, Buccaneer, halala. Once